Hey guys, so we got to watch Todrick win HOH. We're talking about Celebrity Big Brother Season 3. We are so close to being done. They're torturing us with a 2-hour episode. Starting at 9 o'clock on the West Coast tonight. I don't know why they want to do that to anybody. I feel like it's just, it's rude. My feelings are hurt and I feel disrespected.
And the fact that there's 2 episodes, so tonight's 2-hour episode, then the finale, which I'm assuming is going to be 2 hours as well.
Yeah, probably. This is gonna be
there's only 4 more hours of this show, and then we're done.
But it's still like, how are they gonna make 4 hours out of this?
They better show like a lot of the jury, because I don't need to see Todrick and Misha if they make it to final 3. I'm hoping that one of them goes out in the double just so it's more exciting, but like
that would be really cool. And honestly, I want Todrick to go because but like it would be kind of more like dramatic if it was Misha. Because then what if it comes down to Todrick and like someone like Cynthia or something at the end, and
Cynthia might win it. Oh my god.
He would win because it doesn't matter. Everyone hates him and the things that he's done. So whoever he sits next to, even if they've played nothing, they're gonna win. And that would just be so
I think the fact that Teddy doesn't like Todrick, Shayna and Chris Kirkpatrick both have, bad situations with Todrick. Mariah, the whole reason she even left the game was because Todrick ratted her to Misha.
Yeah.
Who else is there? Chris Kattan doesn't really have anything against anybody, but I don't know if he's even going to be at the finale.
Yeah, that's true. And regardless, like if he votes for someone, like if he's the one vote that like someone like Todrick gets, like it's like, okay, but he doesn't even know what's going on, so it doesn't really count. That's the only option, and the only other option would be maybe if Carson is just still conflicted for some reason, like he is my friend, I want to give him one vote because he's like, Carson's a little too nice.
I doubt it. I don't think so.
I think so. So even the person that you were friends with outside of the house says fuck you. No, that's
Carson
crazy.
And Shayna have or Carson put out a statement on Instagram, basically like a huge public apology to Shayna, and Shayna just kind of said like, I accept the apology, but like it was definitely messed up, like what happened.
Yeah, like she just like let it go, like, oh, it's fine. She was like, no, it was wrong, but like, thank you. I think she knows in her heart that Carson is a good person, and I do believe he is. I'm not saying Cynthia's a bad person, but I just feel like Cynthia took it to a different place. It's going to take a different kind of apology from Cynthia, and I don't know.
The fact that even Misha, Todd, and Todrick were like made a comment of like, Shanna really just like darted out of here, didn't she? Like, she looked so mad when she was leaving, or like whatever. I'm like, what is with these like comments? Like, they're so like, it's getting to the point where I think Misha and Todrick have convinced themselves that she actually was like this like evil person.
Yeah, and it was never even anything close to that at all. Even if you don't like some of the choices she made, none of it was like evil, vindictive, personal, real life, nothing like that.
Skipping just through this boring episode.
It's only
obviously we see Todrick won the HOH. It was like a memory comp, or like a spot the difference.
Yeah.
Where they had to run back inside to look at different photos, and it was obviously going to be between Todrick and Misha, but then Lamar was also up there, like up until the last minute. So
yeah, he did pretty good, but then he was pretty upset when he got out. And it's like, well, yeah, but also like, what? I don't know. It was weird because like Todrick and Misha were like, wow, they really wanted to win. So you don't want them to play. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's like getting mad at someone for like just doing their job. Like, this is what they're supposed to care. Like, you still want to get over it, but they're like trying to now like almost like villainize them because they were upset that they didn't win. Of course,
I never understood that, where they're like, where people are like, dude, he was like really gunning for that HOH, or he was really gunning for that veto. I'm like, were you not? Like, I thought that's why we're all here. Like, no matter what agreement you have,
you don't really want that because, you know, you want to win and you think they don't know the game. So you think you could just like steamroll over them, but you can't get mad at them for finally playing the game. And if anything, I'll never understand people that just want to easy skate to the finish. Like, as a competitor myself, I would always rather beat the best than, like, I would always rather lose to the best and like come second to the best than first on a bunch of people that might as well have not even been there. Like, that's not as impressive. So I understand to an extent, but I just feel like they're so bored in there and they're such like evil people that they just have to like make somebody just the villain. Like, they had to villainize the situation when it's not even like that. And it, like, what are you doing? Go play solitaire and shut up.
The fact that there's only 3 days left and there's still 5 people is kind of blowing my mind.
And they're still talking about Shayna. That's blowing my mind. Let it go.
Obviously,
better.
Make sure you vote, please. So I don't want people to vote for Carson. I'm sorry. I don't care how much you think Carson's a good person. Shayna deserves it after what happened to her this season. Point blank.
100%. She deserves it. It's almost like a Davon moment. Not to the same extent. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it like that, but I'm saying like it's like it just needs to happen. And it partially needs to happen just because, like, if we can't get this person anything, this is almost a form of like redemption, revenge. They need this. We need this. The audience needs this. It'll be the only good moment in the finale.
It's the same thing like Janelle winning favorite player. It's like that's the least that she could do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously we know Todd wins the veto, so we will see that in the beginning of this episode in the veto ceremony. Obviously Cynthia and Lamar on the block. We were talking about Todd coming up with a plan, possibly by accident or by, you know, maybe he did come up with this, but the way that it was explained.
My brain, I couldn't tell you how it works, but they can get creative. So watch out, because it really is. Todd is actually trying to do something, I think. I don't know to the extent of what he really thinks he's doing, if we're looking too far into it, but he's doing something. Thank God. He got out from under Misha's ass when he realized she was going to cut him. And he was like, oh shit, I want to play. Thank God. Thank God. At this point, I want him to win out of everyone in that house. Personally. Yeah.
He's shown up. He's won competitions recently. He's kind of having like a Shelly moment with Jeff and Jordan where like she realized like I can't beat them if they're with me at the end. Like I need to try to turn my back on them. And they've honestly haven't treated me like I'm a part of their thing anyway.
Yeah, so
he basically had a conversation where he went up to Misha because they're going to be the two voting. And he said like, oh, like, who are you going to vote for? And she was like, I don't know, like, why are you asking? And he said, well, whatever you vote, I'm going to do the opposite. And then she was like, are you going to like purposely split the vote? And he was like, yeah.
He's like, no shit. Isn't that what that means?
So then
like, no, that's what's gonna happen.
So that's where I'm like, okay, he either way, if he's purposely splitting the vote, it forces Todrick to get his hands dirty. But if he's using this as some sort of way to like make Misha be like, okay, well, should I continue to vote Lamar or should I vote Cynthia? Because then it'll go to a split and then we can get Lamar out. Or is he trying to trick me? So like I vote Lamar and then he actually votes, or like I vote Cynthia and he votes Cynthia and Cynthia ends up going.
Either way, it would just be interesting. I would love for it to be a tie, but it would be really cool if it ended up being some shocking thing like that.
To like get someone out or like even just to cause some doubt with like Misha, because now Misha I'm sure is like, well, like, okay.
Like now her wheels are spinning and they're gonna be talking so much shit about Todd. Oh my God.
And the fact that they're like pissed off that they couldn't get Todd out. That's another reason why I want Todd to win, just because he's been able to foil them twice now.
Yep.
Where he
it just makes it a little better. It's redeeming like just a minuscule amount of the bullshit we've had to see. Like, it's not, it's not good enough, but it's something. And I appreciate something. Like, I'd rather it not just be a cakewalk for Todrick and Misha to the end, where of course Misha's gonna win and Todrick's gonna be like, "What? It's great." It's good. He's gonna feel like Derek last season, like I'm still the shit, And it's like, I don't want to see that. I want to see that disturbed a little bit, or an attempt at disturbing that, where it at least ruffles their feathers a little bit. Like, I just don't want it to be so predictable and boring.
Yeah. Another thing, Lamar asked if he could just rank the house guests that he wants to win so he doesn't have to show up to Wednesday, and production said no, and Lamar said that he's done with the show. And again, I'm sick of the people saying like, Lamar's like the only thing that's like making the show bearable. I'm like, no, he's making it worse. Where's the okay? Him saying something funny every 5 seconds because he's incompetent isn't like saving the show. I'm sorry. You need to like get your brain checked.
No, I don't get it either. And I don't have anything like super against him. I don't hate him, but I don't understand people being like, I love Lammy. I'm like, Lammy doesn't even know where he is. Lammy doesn't want to be there. He still thinks it's like whatever the year was he married Chloe and he wants to go back. Like, no, it's not that entertaining. I'm sorry. It's not. They're putting way too much hype on it. He wants to leave. He doesn't even want to show up on Wednesday. He literally had they're in there for like a month. They have like 4 days left, 3 days left. And he can't even tolerate that. It's really, that just shows people's privilege. Like, I get it. Carson said it. Everyone says it. They don't, people don't really truly understand what it's like to be in that situation unless you're in that situation. And I get it. But they're doing like a quarter of the version of what people really do in there, and they're getting paid probably a lot more to do it. And it's like, it just gives very much like bougie, privileged, like, do your job that you signed up for, that you're getting paid for, and stop complaining. They're not putting on slop. They have a gym for you. They let you nap whenever. They're not doing that bullshit where they have to stay awake. Like, you really, like, it's really not that bad. They're acting like they're in jail. That is a nice jail.
Another thing, Todrick made a comment saying, I just hope Shayna gets over her thing with me and comes to my house on finale night. What in the delusion?
If people show up to his house on finale night, if Carson, Cynthia, and Shayna and Chris Kirkpatrick go to his house on finale night, I will question their mental state.
He also said he likes to spend time with little gay kids at his concert meet and greets and not the straight kids, because the straight kids have people to go look up to already. And people are like, how do you know which kids are gay and which ones aren't? And like, what is like that weird like exclusion? Like,
he's just showing again, like,
his weird thought process on like diversity and like minorities is just really like odd. I don't know.
Trying to act like he's like progressive, but it's really the opposite. What you're doing is the same thing that people did to those, people. You're just trying to turn it around on straight people. It can't be an eye for an eye. If we're going to be equal, we just need to be equal. I get it. You stand with that group of people because that's what you identify with, and that's great. So you can prioritize that in what you're trying to sell to and what you're talking about and what you put your money towards. But when it comes down to like your fans and doing that selectiveness, that's not helpful.
Especially kids admitting to that too. He knows he's being filmed. That's what's blowing my mind, is like the fact that he's so openly saying like all of this like stuff, and he's not thinking like, this is being recorded live. And this is also, I always try to remind myself this is what we're seeing on live feeds that isn't cut. Imagine the stuff that's being cut from production that they don't want us to see.
That's part of what their contract to be on there, or NDAs they've signed with other people, or whatever it is. That's what they cut. They cut shit like that, stuff that they talk about with production, how he got on the show, if he ever talked about that, they would cut that shit out. Like, and then in retrospect, if you're semi talking about that, you're talking fast like this, and then you bring up something else that's not relevant, that's still going to get cut. So we don't know what he's really talking, like what's all being said. But it does to me, if you're not like Lamar and you know that you're being filmed 24/7, it says a lot to me about who you are as a person. If this is what you're doing when you know you're being filmed, what the fuck do you do behind closed doors? Because people try to be on their best behavior, right? You have a brand to protect. You know how culture works in our world right now. It's so hot and heavy, they will get you for anything. And this is what you're willing to say? What the fuck would you be saying if it was 10 years ago in your bedroom? You know what I'm saying?
Another two things real quick. Misha and Todd had a conversation where Misha was basically saying, or they were talking like, oh, well, like, how are they going to deal with 4 people before finale night? Like, there has to be a double eviction. And then Misha was like, well, I'm just glad Shayna's not here. And said, like, I just don't like that energy. And then Todd was like, oh yeah, she ran out of here. She was pissed. And then
Queen energy, bitch. Queen energy. Is that what you don't like? Because you're a peasant? Fuck you. Team Shayna, hashtag better. Vote for Shayna. I don't care. The slander must stop. Stop. You don't even know her. You are lucky to be in her presence. Let it go. You got her out. You won. Yay. Move on.
And Todrick also did some work with Cynthia saying, like, if it's me and Misha up there, like, am I going to get your vote? And Cynthia was like, if you keep me, then, like, I will. I hope she doesn't. But knowing Cynthia, she probably will.
No, so she might be the only vote.
That's embarrassing. And then another thing, apparently, had Chris Kattan not left, we would have had 2 double evictions, which is why we got the weird recap episode.
Okay, well, that makes things make sense. On that note, like, comment, share, subscribe, and catch us in the next one.